County Board of County Commissioners for February 22nd, 2021 meeting that is being on Zoom or FedEx or WebEx, I say. I guess our first order of business tonight is call the meeting to order and have our prayer and our pledge. Our prayer tonight will be led by Commissioner Williams. And Commissioner Wheeler, if you'll lead us in our pledge to the flag.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
In this very troubling and distressful time, we realize how helpless we are, and we thank your sufficiency to help us. And in this particular meeting in which we've gathered to do the work of Washington County, we ask your guidance, your peaceful solutions, and that we may bring glory to you and to your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior. We thank you in his name. Amen.
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 If you would, as you're able, stand where you are and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler, Commissioner Jones, or Commissioner Williams. All right, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Clark.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Fitzgerald.
Here.
Edens.
Here.
Davenport.
Here.
Matherly.
Here.
Tate.
Here.
Malone.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Carragher.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Hester. Huffine.
Here.
Wheeler.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
14 present, 1 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We do have a quorum, 14 present and 1 absent. Next item is the determination of essential function of the governing body, and to approve this agenda knowing that this is essential items to conduct business for Washington County. With that being said, now as we consider the agenda, I know there's been several questions and concerns and on the social media policy that appears on the agenda this evening. I know there's a lot of questions about that, and unfortunately, as chairman, I've not been able to answer all the questions. So we will have people here this evening, but this could turn into a very lengthy discussion. I would, before we proceed on with the agenda, I don't know whether in being in this situation of the Zoom meeting, if we might not be a little more productive and back to the committee, because there is a lot of questions.
Well, we move it back to the committee and defer any vote on it tonight.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner Harris, to defer this from the agenda tonight, and for it to be considered in the next month's CIA meeting for further discussion there, back to the policy advisory or the communication advisory board. Commissioner Carragher, will that be fine? I know you was the one.
Yes.
Your committee sent that up.
I'm
will that be fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion or questions about the let's go ahead and vote on this deferral. I'd feel better just about voting on this deferral and then approving the agenda with a separate motion. So is there any questions or discussion about the deferral?
All the question.
All right. Question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll just to defer this item off the agenda back to the CIA committee?
Clark,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the item is deferred back to the CIA committee for further consideration. All right, we'll be back to the agenda, further agenda items. So we do have the agenda as it stands with that one item deferred. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Jones to approve the resolution or approve the agenda, seconded by Commissioner Williams. Is there any questions or other considerations on the agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll to approve the agenda, please?
Light,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
All right, the resolution passes and the agenda, or the motion passes and the agenda is approved. We do not have any public hearing or comment tonight, do we, Susan?
No, sir, we do not.
Thank you. All right, our next item is the planning and zoning report that's in your packet. The minutes of those meetings are. Next item is we have no special proclamations or recognition tonight. Our next item is the Board of County Commissioner minutes from the January 25th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners that were mailed to you. We have a motion.
So move, Carragher.
Motion by Commissioner Carragher to
Second,
approve.
Davenport.
Seconded by Commissioner Davenport. Any questions? Comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll for the minutes, please?
Light,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the motion to accept the minutes is approved. All right, our next item is appointment of a county commission representative to the Tax Increment Advisory Committee. And
I'd like to make a motion.
Well, I'm going to open the floor for nominations. Right now, as we move into considering, so we need to take representative nominations, and and we'll have a vote on these, and then we'll add that name to resolution 210205 and approve the resolution. So I'll go ahead and open the floor for nominations for a member to serve on the from the commission onto the Tax Increment Finance Board.
I'd like to make a motion, Commissioner Matherly.
Oh, yes, Commissioner Williams.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Jody Jones, backing up her time on the JCDA and the fact that she lives so close to the Walnut Street development, which is going to be critical, and she will be a very good representative from our commission on this board.
All right. Commissioner Jones? Anyone else?
Thank you for those kind words, and I would absolutely accept that nomination. I think it would be really great work to do, and I believe that my JCDA term ends in the summertime, and would love to, if I were selected by the board, I would love to transition to that work, and someone else from our group could represent on the JCDA at that time. I do have a question, though. I think the composition of that, the TIF advisory committee has historically had 2 representatives from the county government side. Does anyone have any clarity on where the additional person comes from, and is that a mayoral appointment, or how does that person get identified?
Let's go to Allison. She's done quite a bit of research on this, I think, and kind of straightening some of these TIF things out. Allison?
Yes, sir, and commissioners. So the board composition of the JCDA advisory board, the Tax Increment Fund Advisory Board, has a county commission representative, which is the position that you are selecting this evening, which is a representative chosen by you to this advisory board, and 1 additional Washington County appointee. And so that being an appointment comes from the county mayor, and so that appointment is still in place. And if anybody would like to know, the duties and responsibilities shall be to review all tax increment redevelopment agreements and make recommendations to the JCDA board on the TIF agreements.
All right. Is there anything, since Jody serves on the JCDA, is that a co-role? Fine, Allison. There would be no issues with that or anything.
I was thinking that when I heard the nomination, and it may be that if Commissioner Jones is elected by this legislative body, that we may want to look at that. Ms. Cantler is here as well. She probably knows all the bylaws backwards and forwards as to that conflict, but it may be something that the commission has its own view about, that it would like to select someone to fulfill that term.
Okay.
So that we would have an additional voice. I mean, it may just be a practical matter rather than a legal.
Okay. All right. So we have Commissioner Jones. Anyone else?
Move that nominations cease and we elect her by acclamation.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler.
Second.
Second. All in favor of Commissioner Jones being fill his seat, answer yes or no when your name is called. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, one absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. So congratulations, Commissioner Jones. And we appreciate you serving in that role. I know that's all right. Let's see. We do have a couple of more appointments to make this evening, but we need to go back to. I would feel better about going ahead and adding Commissioner Jones's name into this resolution, and just going ahead and voting on the resolution, and just to make me feel good. And Allison shaking her head yes, so it's going to make her feel good. But if we would, our next item is approval of Resolution 21205, the resolution confirming the County Commission's recommendation for an appointee to the Tax Increment Fund Advisory Board of the Johnson City Development Authority. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution with the
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, a second by Commissioner Kate. Is there any discussion or questions on that resolution? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
White,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Carriger,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, one absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Our next resolution is Resolution 210212, is a resolution appointing a member to the Washington County Board of Zoning Appeals. That has came through the Public Works Committee from last month, and it is ready for your consideration. We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Davenport. Do we have a second?
Second. Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitzgerald. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
White,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Carriger,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, one absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes. Next resolution is Resolution number 210203. Is a resolution confirming the mayor's appointment to the County Purchasing Commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the resolution by Commissioner Malone. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kate. Any questions or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
White,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Carriger,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, one absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Right on to our next business, the county mayor's report. Mayor Grandy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no official report for tonight, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes, Mayor, could you, this weekend, WJHL had a report out regarding a hotel motel tax proposal in front of the legislature that I don't recall hearing about that in the budget committee or anywhere, and I was hoping you could shed some light on that and how that came about and where we're headed with that, and when will we weigh in on that?
Right now, it's really out. It's sort of been a placeholder at the legislature, probably with no hope of moving forward, but thought it would be an opportunity for us to take it up under discussion. In our group, one of the things that we have available to us as a county, made available the first of the year, was some legislation that went into effect in the last session, is the opportunity to apply an occupancy tax for long-term rental facilities, which would include potentially bed and breakfasts and other. We do have some of those across the county, in the rural part of the county, that we might consider taking a look at and seeing. Obviously, this revenue would be coming from people who are not, county residents. They are guests and so forth, and could be applied to promotion of the county on a tourist basis. But it's there if we choose to move forward with some sort of an action later, and the plan is to begin that discussion in the CIA next month.
All right. Anything else for Mayor Grandy?
I just wanted to clarify, did I understand the mayor to say that he doesn't believe it has a chance of moving forward at the state level?
Probably not at this time. It really needs, a lot of discussion. It was opened up for both Sullivan and Washington County, and it has potential, but probably this bill could stay open through this session as well as next year. So it has some time before it'll be acted on, probably.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mayor, but I may have one additional question of the mayor, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Law.
Mayor, I don't think we've had much discussion about the new website, or like so many things with the county, we don't necessarily celebrate successes or positive news. We're better than we were, I guess, but still work to be done. But I was just going to say I like the new website, and I think it's a progress and a step in the right direction. I do sometimes use it as a crutch to look up numbers, telephone numbers, contact info, and I've gotten lost a couple of times. I was looking for Michelle Stewart's number under human resources, and I finally found it under employee benefits. I don't know if we could put a slash there, human resources, or vice versa. And I didn't see the legal department on there, like our county attorney or Miss Stutes. And so just for one of the commissioners that uses it as a crutch, those are some that we might add if we can.
Commissioner Malone, thank you for that. Really appreciate. And obviously there are other things that will need to be added going forward. So as people find them and consider them, just send them on up, and we'll be happy to get that done. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Commissioner Malone, also, there is a little neat, just a complete phone list on there that you can select too, that has most of the phone numbers on it, and you don't have to go to each one of the departments. So if you can find that, that may help as well. It's helped me. It doesn't have individual commissioners on it, but as far as what's in the office in Jonesboro, it has that list.
I don't think the legal department's on there. I've tried to look up either Miss Stutes or I can't remember if it's Miss Stutes or Miss Wilkinson the other day. They're not on that listing either.
Yeah, I thought Mr. Davenport may have been referencing an employee list. I know the one that I kind of looked at where it just says government, and then it starts, actually, I think Michelle Stewart's first with employee benefits, and then it lists down. I don't think legal is there, but if there's another place where you can search just by employee name, or that would be helpful. I haven't found that yet. But.
Mr. Chairman, I had a follow-up on the website issue.
Yes, Commissioner Wheeler.
Mr. Mayor, I asked this question last month of a staff member, but to direct it maybe to you. There was a section on the old website. Of course, we weren't aware that that was going to change over the Christmas break, or I probably would have been printing out a bunch of stuff. But there was a section that had reports that had been made to the commission and different documents that I referred to quite frequently in our work. And that all those are gone now. And I had asked specifically before the website was rolled out whether those would, in the communication task force, I asked whether those would be included on the new website, was assured they would be. They're not. I've asked again since then, and as far as I know, they're still not on there. Can we get those put back on so that we can refer to those reports when we need to?
Are you talking about the minutes that you were talking about before?
No, sir, and that's not what I had asked the specific question, not of you, but again of a staff member, about the reports. There were reports such as reports by the former county mayor to the commission about school funding. There were reports on different, I think some of the health department issues. There was like one section where you opened it up and there were all these reports listed down through there. And again, I bet I've referred to that a dozen, maybe 24 times since we've been commissioners, the group that came in when I did. And they're very, very helpful. And I think we need to get those back available, not only to the commission, but to the public.
Okay, we'll take a look at that in the morning.
Yes,
it may be in Dropbox, but I will double check that and we'll create. Would you like to see an area created that just says reports similar to what's on there before? Would that be useful?
Yes, sir. Reports or resources, or reports and resources, but I think that would. And Dropbox doesn't fix the problem of the public not being able to get to them. I think those things are important for the public too. And I actually don't have a Dropbox account, so I can't get into the Dropbox documents.
I'd like to ask a question about, are all the past agendas back to a certain date accessible on the website?
Back to a certain date. I think when they asked me, I thought we had talked about 2 years worth or something. Isn't that what we said? Can't remember when they asked. I know, but they were in Dropbox. But I don't know what's back on the website as of yet. I haven't really seen that. Mayor, do you have any thought? Was that how long?
And I thought we had them on there for a year back, but I'll double check that in the morning. Be sure that they're back. I know that was some work that we were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Sherry just popped in here. They are on there all the way back to 2011.
Okay. All right. I think we started out with 2 years and went all the way back. So, all right. Any further questions for the mayor?
Chairman, this is Commissioner Harris. I've got a comment there about what Commissioner Willard said, if I can say something.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I'd seen the same story on Channel 11 about this hotel-motel tax, and it concerned me, and I just heard the mayor say it was concerning bed and breakfasts as well, and I just think this is a very bad idea to want to raise an additional tax on people who are trying to run a bed and breakfast or a motel, especially during these times that we're in now. I've got a good friend that runs a motel, actually he owns 2, and he's just barely getting by. So it'd be nice before I don't know whose ideal this was, but that's the first I'd heard about it, and I think that that needs to have a lot of input from a lot of people before we start asking our state legislators to raise another tax.
You would have to see that back in the committees and anything before we ever got to consider it too, Commissioner Harris. So it may have a long way to go.
Well, that's good. I think it should, and I just don't think at this point in time we should be taxing people for a hotel or motel, or especially a little bed and breakfast that's barely getting by during these COVID times. But that's my opinion. I don't know. In fact, a friend asked me, I said, I don't know anything about it. Hadn't heard anything about it until I've seen it on the news.
I agree.
All right. Was any further comments or questions, or before we move on to the county attorney's report? No, all right.
I want to say that I got some comments about the change of requested mask instead of mandated. And eating out Saturday night, I wish it had been a mandate still.
All right. All right. Any further comments or questions? All right. If not, we will move on to the county attorney's report. Ms. Wilkins.
Good evening. I do not have for you a formal report. I'm here throughout the whole meeting if you have individual questions regarding any of the resolutions, or if you have general questions now, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Allison. We appreciate all you do.
I appreciate you.
All right. Our next report is the Director of the Health Department, Dr. Hodgkins. Or Hodgen. I'm sorry, Chris. Hodgen.
No worries. Hey, good evening, everybody. Just have a quick update for you here on latest numbers, that kind of thing that are in front of me these days. Generally speaking, you know, they're all trending down still. Pretty good news across the board. Active cases are down. I see today's numbers: 214 active cases total in the county. Our 14-day positivity, our daily case rates have dropped from almost 21.5 to about 12. So those numbers are looking better. And overall positivity rates actually have gone down to about 7%. So that's good too. Especially just a few months ago, we were looking, you know, up in towards the 30% range, and now we're down to 7%. So all that's looking pretty good. As far as vaccines concerned, you know, Washington County still well above average for the state's average is about 10.5% for folks vaccinated. Washington County's numbers today are you know, about 17.5% and about 12% overall with both doses. So Washington County continues to be up there on the leaderboard when it comes to the state as a whole, when it comes to getting this vaccine out. And then that brings me to the latest update here. We have gone to a new scheduling. It's called Vaccine Registration and Scheduling. It's known as VRAS, which has gone live. The website for that is simply vaccinate.tn.gov, and that'll get you there, run you through a questionnaire, gives you a little bit more power to make your own appointments and come get vaccinated when we have the vaccine available, that kind of thing. So all pretty good stuff. We're looking forward to moving on with it.
A couple of questions that I have, Chris, is when are we encouraging people to register no matter what their age now? Is that my understanding, or are we just wanting people registering when they're at the age of vaccination?
We're still vaccinating per, you know, all the ranges and the ages and that kind of thing. You can go on VRAS at any age and any category that you might fall into, and it really starts you off with a questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, will drive you to whether or not you fall into one of our current vaccination ranges, right? So if you don't fall into one of those ranges right now, it'll actually ask you, hey, you want me to give you an email when we come to you, and it will notify you that, hey, we've now gotten to the point where we are vaccinating you in your age range or in your 1C or 2A or whatever's coming up next. So you can go on there and do this. It won't let you register actively, I don't think, if you don't fall into one of the active categories, but it will offer you the notification when that time comes.
Okay. How many, based on the number of people that we are testing, is testing down? Well, I mean, when you look at the numbers, how far they've fallen, is it a matter of testing less, or is it a matter of just less COVID?
That's hard to say. The testing is down. It's down a bit, not a whole lot from the last time I updated you. I think testing was right around 300 tests per day. The numbers that I have today show about 234 tests per day. So it's down a bit, but the positivity rates are down as well. Okay. So it's a good trend.
Good. Ballard's numbers in the hospital were very impressive today. Commissioner Jones?
Just a quick question, and the numbers really do sound great. I'm wondering if you might know what our 65 plus population is looking like right now in terms of percentage vaccinated. Is that a number that people keep handy, or?
I don't have that off the top of my head, although I can get you one. It's we've just gone into that, so I'm not likely to have a ton of data on it just yet. But I can do the research and then double back to you and give you what I have.
That'd be helpful. We'll hopefully hear a report from you in the HUE committee if you're available this month. I just would say that our national experts at least are predicting that the UK variant will start moving very quickly, day over day, over the next 8 to 12 weeks. And to the extent that our over 65 group isn't vaccinated, that's the group that's going to cause a hospital surge and more deaths. So those are data I'd be curious to hear more about rather than overall data.
Okay. I will get back to you with that.
Mr. Jones, according to the census, we have somewhere between 7,000 and 7,500 65 plus to 70 age group, and we're just beginning to start that vaccination process now. So they're in phase as we speak.
That's great, and that's a number, not a penetration rate. So a penetration rate would be wonderful. Is that like half, or is it 20% of all of those people? Instead of a number, a rate.
Okay.
Commissioner Huffine?
Just a quick call out, Chris. I've had actually a couple family members I've taken over to Freedom Hall, and I want to commend you. Very, very efficient operation, very smoothly, 30, 45 minutes in and out. And when you're dealing with, the elderly there, that's very critical. So just really wanted to appreciate and say thank you very much for the operation you had. I've heard some of the nightmares of people trying to go to the Bristol racetrack, but I've not heard any complaints on our facility in Johnson City. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that. I'll pass it on to the team. I mean, that's something that they really are trying to do, is to get that vaccine out as quickly, as safely as possible, and really appreciate the positive feedback. Thank you.
Job well done.
Commissioner Wheeler?
I'm hearing the same thing as far as a lot of my clients are older and they're really bragging on you all. And I understand Commissioner Jones is concerned about our older population. I am curious as to whether we have any idea when we'll be dropping down to 1C, because I think that starts to pick up a lot of our medically compromised folks. Do you have any idea when we're looking toward going down to 1C?
I don't. The only thing I can tell you is I do ask the question frequently, just to make sure I know what's coming, and we can start posturing for opening up the new age ranges and the new vaccination sections and that kind of thing. So I don't have a good answer for you at the moment. But as soon as I know, we're going to keep going on that for the preparation so we can continue this operation as quickly as we can.
I want to ask a question, Commissioner Williams here. I read the article about Randy Wyckoff and the webinar or whatever on the vaccine. Do you recommend that we take that in?
I don't think I'm familiar with what you're referring to.
Well, it was on the front page of the Johnson City Press today.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. Sorry.
All right.
Chris, I just want to say, again, how impressive operation y'all run out there. It's very efficient. In Washington County, over nearly 38,000 of our citizens have been immunized, which is a huge number in the amount of time that we've been working on this. And Washington County is just slightly behind Unicoi as being the highest as a percentage of population vaccinated county in the entire state. So this region is really strong and it's really doing well. And Chris, you guys do a great job. Thank you for what you do.
I appreciate that, sir. I'll pass that on to my team as well.
All right. Any further questions before you move on to our next item? All right. Seeing none, we'll continue to press on with the agenda. The Director of Schools report, I think Dr. Flannery was tied up in another meeting tonight, but we do have Brad Hale. Brad, do you want to report anything, or you're just here for moral support?
I'm actually just here in case there's any questions on the budget amendments for the schools, so I certainly don't have the director's report.
All right. We're just going to try to put you on the spot anyway, since we could do that and knew Dr. Flannery wasn't here. But we appreciate you, Brad, and you do a great job. I guess we'll move right on along down to the Commercial, Industrial, and Agricultural Committee. Commissioner Carriger, we've took some of your work away tonight, so we'll turn that report over to you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. You have on page 16 the minutes of our February 4th meeting with the attachments. I'll be glad to answer any questions at this time if anybody has a question. All right, seeing none, our resolution 210201, we've deferred that. Next is our resolution 210202, resolution adopting amendments to the redevelopment and urban renewal plan for the downtown and other identified redevelopment districts of Johnson City, Tennessee, known as the TIF plan. I think what we're doing there is just putting in writing and formalizing what we've agreed to in the past. I think Mrs. Cantler is here to answer any questions. And Mr. Chairman, that comes to you from the CIA committee with a motion for approval.
All right, we got a motion from motion from Commissioner Carriger. We have a second.
Second
By Commissioner Wheeler. And we'll open the floor up for discussion or questions. Ms. Cantler is with us this evening. Any questions? All right. All right, seeing no questions. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
White.
Yes.
Harris.
No.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Eden.
No.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly. Kate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Carriger.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Huffine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
No.
11 yes, 3 no, 1 absent.
All right, 11 yes, 3 no, and 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Anything else, Commissioner Kerrigan?
No, Mr. Chairman, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right on down our agenda, the Employee Compensation and Benefits Committee. We did meet. Your minutes from that meeting of February 4th is in the packet if there's any questions. We did have one resolution, Resolution 210204. It's a resolution amending the addendum to the COVID-19 addendum to the Washington County Personnel Policy. And the employee handbook. That comes to you in the form of a motion from the Employee Compensation and Benefits Committee. You have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lott. Do we have any discussion or questions? Michelle is here if you would like to ask her a question about the addendum.
Commissioner Harris, I've got a question.
And go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
I just want to make sure I'm not really 100% familiar with that. I read what we had in the packet, but it was limited. But I just want to make sure that we're still taking good care of our employees. That we've got so many that are out here dealing with people every day and that could get COVID in their line of work. And I had COVID, and just to be honest with you, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. I was very sick for weeks and lost some good friends and family members to it. So I want to make sure we're taking care of our employees. I don't know what the major changes are that we're making, but just want to make sure that nobody's going to be penalized if they get COVID when they're working for us here at Washington County. That's my question.
Okay. Michelle, would you kind of go over the changes to the addendum that we have?
I'll be glad.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry that you had COVID, but I'm glad you're on the mend and feeling better. Basically, the provision changes were the federal leave that ended December 31st, of course, is out of the policy because that ended on a specific date by the federal government. The thing that is being proposed to come out is the people that are being paid to isolate at home. Those individuals that have one of the health conditions that the CDC labels them as possibly being high risk or at a high risk to contract COVID. That self-isolation has been removed. Primarily, we had several elected officials that voiced concern over that it's starting to become a hardship, that it seems unfair to other employees, that sort of thing. So the committee looked at it. We surveyed elected officials, and I did have about 6 responses. And a couple of those said they didn't use it, so they didn't really have an opinion about it. But several said that it was creating a hardship. So it would be taking out the self-isolation. Those employees, of course, would fall back under the personnel policy. So if someone has a medical condition and needs to apply for family medical leave, it would go back to the base personnel policies. But the self-isolation piece would end. And just to give you a little bit of a statistic, CTAS did a survey a couple of weeks ago, and I sent the results to the committee this past week. They surveyed all the counties in Tennessee. 82 of 90 responded. 66% of the respondents have a countywide policy. 34% have a specific to their department or their office, meaning it's not countywide. Of those that responded, 75% do offer some paid time off. 25% do not. We would still fall in the category that we still offer paid time off. We offer that in terms of telework for individuals that can do their job remotely, or paid to stay at home, which is for the individuals that have contracted COVID and are quarantined or placed in quarantine because of a direct exposure, or those that the office holder is trying to minimize some of the risk in the office by having half the staff at home and half the staff at work. So we would still be offering those options to county officials. Did that clear up your question?
let me just ask a hypothetical, if I can. Is that all right, Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay. Let's say that I'll say a deputy sheriff goes out here on a call somewhere where somebody has COVID, and they become around that person, and they have to isolate. Are we now not going to pay that person while they're off, or penalize them for their time off, or how will that work, Michelle?
No, Commissioner, they would not be penalized. Anybody that is quarantined due to a positive exposure or their positive case, or anyone that is quarantined due to a direct contact would be paid under the paid to stay at home leave option. So they still have that option. Basically, what we did was the emergency paid sick leave option that the federal government mandated that we offer. We just moved that part of if someone is quarantined or if someone is a positive case that is isolated, they will now have paid to stay at home time since that federal government time left. But nobody would be penalized for having COVID or being exposed. It does give the elected officials the autonomy to quarantine those people with pay.
Can I ask you one more question, just so I'll know for sure before I vote on this?
Sure.
Let's say that my wife's a county employee, and I get COVID. And, of course, my wife's been with me, and she has to go back to work at, say, the mayor's office because she's been isolated. Because if she was around me, would she still be eligible for pay, or are we going to take away her sick time or not compensate her?
The elected official has within the policy the ability to pay that employee because they are quarantined by the health department guidelines for a direct household exposure. So they would still receive the pay to stay at home time during that time that they are in their quarantine for exposure. It really kind of just clears it up that while the person is quarantined either for a positive case, isolated with that positive case, or quarantined because they've had that exposure, they do have that option, the officials do, to pay those employees to stay at home.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not going to be penalizing our employees for this terrible COVID mess, and that we're taking care of them. It sounds like we are. So I appreciate you clarifying it and appreciate the great job you do.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Ford.
I'd like to make a statement, if I could, maybe. I know time's running short, but this is a very volatile issue, and I understand it is. But I just want to make it known to all the commissioners and the public that I will be abstaining on this vote because I am a county employee. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wheeler?
Mr. Can you tell us how many employees, going back to what being changed here today, with respect to the employees that had the medical conditions that were allowing them to stay home, can you tell us how many are affected by this?
I can. There are 8 full-time and 1 part-time employee, so a total of 9.
Okay. And will there be accommodations made for them when they come back to try to limit their exposure to COVID?
Yes. Each elected official can offer to make any accommodations. Of course, we've stressed that, if someone needs an accommodation, we're going to treat that like we would any accommodation under the ADA.
Now, when you say they can do that, I would think if it's under the ADA, they're required to do that, are they not?
We are required to make accommodations, yes, but those have to be reasonable accommodations.
I understand.
So in the policy, it does say that individuals that telework, that have a serious health condition, those people should be given an opportunity to telework at all if they can. So we would make those accommodations. Employees that are self-isolating now that would return to work on March the 1st, they have earned sick time and vacation time while they were off. Some of them have been off since April the 1st of last year. So they would have some accrued time that they also could use if they feel unsafe. But then I also want to tie it back to as well, the temporary personnel policy, the time that it would end with the governor's declaration. If there is not a declaration of a state of emergency in the state, then our temporary personnel policy would end. So we do fall under, we're watching what the governor does in terms of that as well. Did that answer your question, Commissioner Whelan?
It did. Thank you. I just wanted to be sure about that before voting for it.
Sure.
Commissioner Malone, did you have your hand up?
I did. I just wanted to make sure I heard correctly because it surprised me, I suppose. But Ms. Stewart, as I heard what you said, I guess this policy really impacts those, to Mr. Harris's or Commissioner Harris's point, not those that have been exposed to the COVID virus, but rather those who had chosen on their own to stay home for medical or other reasons. Is that correct? And if that's correct, I'm surprised that we still had some, but if I understood, we still had 8 or 8.5. Is that correct?
Yes, Commissioner Malone. These are the 9 total, which is 8 part-time or 8 full-time, 1 part-time, are the individuals that initially chose to stay at home and self-isolate. Initially, when the plan was written, and I think the purpose was the 30 days to flatten the curve, was to give those people that may have been at a certain age or a certain health condition the opportunity to stay home and not have an exposure because they had an increased risk of developing disease. In July, the CDC took out the age requirement, and it based it on if you have one of these 7 health conditions, then you did have an increased risk of developing serious complications or COVID. So we made that change. The people that are on self-isolation do meet the CDC guidelines now, but these are the employees that have chosen, because of their health condition, to stay at home and receive pay and benefits for the period of time that they've been home.
Again, just a follow-up question. So, just as a commissioner and I guess a county taxpayer, have we had 8 or 9 employees then that have been off for this reason for 11 months or so?
Yes, we have a couple of people that took off in April when cases were going up and they were trying to flatten the curve, then came back to work and then took off again. We have a couple of people that started in May of last year when cases went up. But for the most part, 6 of those people have been off since April the 1st.
Are they working from home, Michelle?
No, these are all on self-isolation time, meaning they are staying home with pay because of their health condition puts them at an increased risk for COVID. Now, we do have some other employees that are teleworking, but these 9 people are not.
All right. Any further questions or before we take a vote?
Call the question.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Light.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Edens.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Kate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Gallagher. Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent, 1 abstain.
All right, 13 yes, 1 absent, 1 abstain, and the resolution passes. That concludes the report of the committee. Is there any questions or comments or that we can answer? All right, seeing none, we'll move right on into the Health, Education, and Welfare Committee report. Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Chairman. This past month, the Health, Education, and Welfare Committee held yet again 2 meetings, 1 special call meeting and 1 regular monthly meeting. And thank you so much to those of you who attended those. It's been a lot of work the last few months. And I want to just take a moment to describe the results of our special call meeting, which really represents a year-long effort that many of us have made to shoring up our environmental cleanup process. Really a shout out to this current HUE committee, last year's HUE committee, our budget committee, the mayor, our attorney, Mr. France, and others for helping us really rethink about how we're doing environmental cleanup. I worked with a little diagram to help kind of break it down. It's very cryptic, but it gets the point across. You can find it on page 99 of your packet. That's the area in the packet where you'll see a summary of that special call meeting. In summary, if someone makes a complaint about a property in Washington County that's fallen into disrepair, Mr. France goes and checks that out and tries to work with the property owner. In most cases, our investment in Mr. France is great because the owners go ahead and get that cleaned up for us, and we make our county look better, and we reduce hazards for our citizens. But in some cases, the property owner doesn't clean up the property, even after Mr. France has made a visit or more than 1 visit. And at that time, right now, according to our current process, Mr. France visits with our attorney and issues a citation. And the case goes to General Sessions Court, where a judge court orders that the property get cleaned up. And it's not until that court order occurs that the HUE committee gets involved. It's after the court order. So by the time HUE learns about this property, it's already been ordered by a judge that the county clean it up. And all that HUE does then is basically authorize the county to spend the money that it's going to take to follow through on that order. So basically, HUE has been historically positioned on the very back end of this process. And what we have done, among other things in these various meetings, is reconsider the whole process, kind of shore up the process, and put to work more efforts on the front end. So after we identify a property that is not getting cleaned up, we have a few new things in place that increase our chances of getting success before the property goes to court. One of those things is our county attorney is involved with the family at that point, which allows us to really have a fixed legal cost associated with these cleanups. Another thing is that Ms. Wilkinson's been willing to and interested to engage the property owners in mediation, which often can result in some changes in status without going to court. And what we've proposed to do is also put HUE in at that front end process, where HUE could hear recommendations from Ms. Wilkinson about how those mediations are going, in particular recommendations about which ones might need to eventually go to court. And that could be a role, an oversight type of role that HUE could play on that front end. And we all agreed that would work well. So HUE is now positioned at the front end of the process, working closely with Ms. Wilkinson and, of course, our operations side to see how those properties are going and take recommendations about who should go to court, and then positioned on the backside. I'll just point out that once a property goes to court, there are hundreds of dollars in legal fees there. County fronts those costs. Sometimes we get reimbursed and sometimes we don't. But also property owners ultimately pay those costs. And that's several $100s they could have used to clean the property. So to the extent that we're able to use this front end process to save some money for property owners, for the county, I think it'll be really great. One additional point I'll make is that just in discussing this process, really laying it out and really engaging all of the parties, we've seen really improved communication across operations, legal, HUE, a whole gamut. And it's really, I think, resulted in a better sense of how to make this work well for the county. So, you know, this is the tough work that we do in government. It's not always fun. It took a bunch of extra meetings over the last year. Probably no one out there really appreciates, I shouldn't say no one. The most people don't have an appreciation for the importance of getting a process like that really fixed, but I think it's in a better place, and I'm really glad to see that it's so. And I would invite Ms. Wilkinson, if there's anything you would add to the description of that, or anybody else that feels like there's some more updates on the upshot of our special call meeting.
At your invitation, I will just make one distinction. When you were referencing legal costs, Commissioner Jones is referring to the court costs. And so that those are the filing fees and the issuance of citation to tell someone to come into the courthouse. They would not be asked to reimburse legal fees as far as the paralegal time and the attorney time. That's a fixed cost, but just making that very small distinction. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I would encourage you to think about those costs that she brought up. That was the impetus in recommending your role as commissioners to enforce this resolution from 1998, which led to the adoption of this process and ultimately an additional sessions court judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions about the process? And I'm certainly happy to try to answer them or defer them to smarter people. Awesome. So as I just explained, we've repositioned HUE so that it's situated at the front, but it's still going to work on the back end of the process as well. When a court orders a cleanup, HUE will still authorize the counties to spend that money. And I want you to remember that we do have several cases that have kind of accumulated over the last year or so as we've been reworking this process. And tonight, when we get into the resolutions that I'm bringing to you, we're going to be talking about some of those properties. And I just want you to know that in your packet on pages 100 to 105, there is a summary of all of those cases that we are going to be working through this process over the next several months. You will recall that we asked for additional funds for environmental cleanup this year. We had originally budgeted $15,000. We asked for another 100. We have $115,000. There's a really nice, simple one-page summary by Mr. Meredith that shows you which properties have already been paid for, which properties are still out there, which properties we still need bids on, etc. So we're working through that list, and it's helpful to see that summary so you know kind of like what we budgeted and where we stand with regard to expenses for cleanups this year. And then Ms. Wilkinson prepared a more detailed summary on those pages for your review. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into our second meeting then. We met in our regular HUE committee meeting on February 4th. You can find the minutes from that meeting on page 106. And we have several resolutions for you to consider. The first two are school budget recommendations or resolutions, and the others are environmental cleanup costs. So first, I'll ask that you please consider resolution number 210206, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2020-2021 regarding Washington County Schools budget amendments. You can find that resolution on page 132. This comes with a recommendation from you, and I'm bringing it forward in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Jones, seconded by Commissioner Davenport to approve the resolution. Do you have any questions or discussion? Mr. Hale is here with us. Commissioner Edens has called for the question. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
Light. Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Eden.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams. Gallagher.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Stefan.
Yes.
Yes.
Ford. Ford.
Yes.
Light. Williams. Williams.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes. I'm sorry I left. I'm back now.
We were just calling the roll
Okay.
on the
Yes.
school amendment. Okay. She
Williams.
voted.
Williams, do you have a vote?
Yes. I'm voting yes.
Thank you. 14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Commissioner Jones?
Great. Next, I'll ask you to consider resolution number 210207, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2020-2021 regarding Washington County Schools nutrition budget. You can find it on page 135 of your packet. This resolution comes with a recommendation from you, and I'm bringing it forward in the form of a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davenport to approve the resolution. Do we have any discussion or questions? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll on this resolution, please.
Light.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Edens.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Erriger.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Huffine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Commissioner Jones?
The next three resolutions are environmental cleanup costs. And again, you can see the full list of those matters that we'll be dealing with in the remainder of the fiscal year in your packets on pages 100 through 105, just to get a sense of where we stand. So first, please consider Resolution 210208, resolution authorizing spending from fiscal year budget 2020-2021 regarding environmental court cleanup of property owned by Justin Cannon, located at 157 Buttermilk Road, Gray, Tennessee. You can find that one on page 138 of your packet. It comes with a recommendation from Hugh, and I bring it forward in the form of a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Jones to approve the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wheeler. Questions or discussion?
Chairman, I've got one question. This is Commissioner Harris.
Go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
I appreciate Commissioner Jones. Commissioners don't live in the county don't realize how important Bobby France is to keep us cleaned up. And I just wonder if do we have any figures of what the amount of outstanding cleanup costs that we've not recouped over the years, or are we recouping what percentage, or how much is outstanding? That's the question I would have. But I do appreciate the cleanup, and I'm all for it. But that's the question.
I think that might be a good question for Ms. Wilkinson. She may have those numbers. Allison, do you have those numbers?
Yes, sir. I've got a total, and we actually just had someone make a partial payment on a lien last week, and I have not updated this list since that gentleman made that partial payment. And I did actually put it in a memo, so forgive my not being super specific on this point. The county held approximately $100,000 in liens, and of those, almost all of them remain outstanding. So I've got that in a memo, and why don't I circulate that to all of you tomorrow? Or only I'm saying that because I don't want to flip through this and have you think I'm going to read to you from this giant pile of memorandums. I do have some summary for you. So it's what is your pleasure? Would you like for me to give you a dollar certain right now, and I will just look for it? Because as of July, I believe that I gave a total of that $100,000. What say you? Would you like for me to look for it while you consider all of them, or do you want to wait? I did not anticipate that question, Commissioner Harris, and I feel like I should have. That's a great question for your decision making.
This is Commissioner Harris. I don't want them tonight. I don't know what the other commissioners do. I would like to see them, but I'll just say this: if it's only $100,000, that's a small amount to pay for the great job that Bobby France and his group does to keep the county clean. Because I was over in Unicoi County today. We're working on some stuff over there, and I'll tell you, they've got some real messes that they don't clean up. And for what he does over here is that's a very small amount. So I thought it would be higher than that. So thank you a lot, Allison.
And I think that number's from 2012. You're welcome, Commissioner. I mean, meaning that that's in 9-year period that amount has been incurred. But I'll get you a to the penny number in the next couple of days here.
All right. Is there any further questions to consider?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Ford?
Is this not in the form of a question? I just like to ask a question before we make this vote. We, back some time ago, we appropriated more money for this department. Has he ever got any additional help yet? And I don't know who to ask that to, you or the lawyer or mayor, but whoever that reference to. So I'd like to have an answer for that.
Mayor?
I'll take that. As you know, Mr. France was out for a little over 2 months and is returned back to work in January. So while he was out, we didn't move forward with bringing anybody additionally in. So he is now in the process of relocating his office over to the Justice Center, a space where Mr. Story, the Veteran Service Officer, is, and there'll be space for a person there. Then potentially those two can share.
All right.
Did I hear you? Did I understand you right, Mayor, that Mr. Story was going to be working for him? The veteran representative?
No, sir. If I said that, it was a total mistake. But I believe I said that Mr. France was going to be locating his office over there in the same place.
Join the meeting.
Where Jerry Story's office is.
Okay.
All right. Okay, any further questions before we take the vote? All right. Seeing none and hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Light.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Edens.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Carragher.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Pethine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes. Commissioner Jones?
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to ask that you consider resolution number 210209, resolution authorizing spending from fiscal year budget 2020 to 2021 regarding environmental court cleanup of property owned by Charles S. Hammett Sr., Jewel Riffle, located at 1728 Highway 1 South, Jonesboro, Tennessee. You can find that resolution on page 144 of your packet. It comes to you with a recommendation from you, and I bring it forward in the form of a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Jones.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Malone. Is there any questions or discussion?
Call for the question.
The question's been called for. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Light.
Yes.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Edens.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Carragher.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Pethine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Commissioner Jones?
The last resolution for your consideration is number 210210, resolution authorizing spending from fiscal year budget 2020-2021 regarding environmental court cleanup of property owned by Tommy Renette Johnson, located at 316 Highway 81 North, Jonesboro, Tennessee. You can find it on page 149 of your packet. It comes with a recommendation from you, and I'm bringing it forward in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Jones, seconded by Commissioner Malone to approve the resolution. Discussion or questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, I'm not questioning where we need to clean it up or where we don't need to clean it up, because I know we do. I've seen the picture. But this is at least the second time we've cleaned this up. I remember one other time since I've been on the commission that we've paid to clean this up. Is there anything in these, is any kind of clause or anything saying anything about having to go back and further clean it up again at another time? Or is it just?
Allison, let's refer that question to you again.
Thank you. This is the property on that actually was the subject of a prior resolution. And I think that I distributed some information here because there is already a lien against this property for the prior cleanup. So this is the second time. I'm just going to look and see if it's in the memo that's in your packet. But you are exactly right, Commissioner Ford. And I think that this made me look to see if this was right in your district. It's right on the line there, right on the curve. And so you are correct that it was the subject of a prior cleanup, and those amounts were not paid since that time. And there's a provision actually in the originating resolution that allows the county to clean up when they are in violation of the prior order. The Cannon property, for example, arose that way. It had previously been the subject of a resolution and a cleanup, and that gentleman actually paid off that amount, and then it got in this condition again, compared to this one, where the property was the subject of a cleanup in the past. That amount has not been paid, and it remains a lien against the property.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wheeler?
I think this is a good opportunity to mention that Hugh has been talking about that there is one other option besides going back to General Sessions Court. In a situation where we have multiple cleanups, and this is a good reason for Hugh to be involved on the front end, we might decide that we want to go to Chancery Court with a property that's the subject of multiple cleanups and get a permanent injunction. At that point, if they violate it again, they are in contempt of court. And the judge has a little more authority and power to do something about that. So it's at least an option that we might consider on something like this in the future. But we're far enough along with this one, I think we need to go ahead and move forward tonight with the cleanup. But when we have this one come back up again with sort of the new structure we're looking at, we'll be able to decide on the front end whether we need to go in a little bit different route to keep the property in compliance.
And for your benefit, while you're considering what Commissioner Wheeler just mentioned, last November, we appeared in court and we carried through the last of any matters that had been previously filed. And so they were already on file. There had been continuances and resets and efforts to either work with them or get them dismissed. Those have all now been through court. And so anything that comes forward at this juncture, unless it's on the list about something that's pending bids or there's an agreement with the property owner to give them more time, it would be subject to a recommendation and review by Hugh. So they've all been put through court. We went in November for that. So you're in position for that process.
All right.
Call the question.
A question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
White?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Edens?
Yes.
Davenport?
Yes.
Matherly?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Malone?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Carragher?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Huffine?
Yes.
Wheeler?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes. Anything else, Commissioner Jones?
Just a footnote to look at our minutes and note that we had a presentation from Elena Wood at First Tennessee Development District. As Commissioner Harris mentioned, you can drive through a county and kind of look around and see how they do on keeping things cleaned up. And we just got done talking about all of our private property, but Ms. Wood was talking about our public land and some of the concerns we have about trash dumping on our public land. We're hoping to hear more from her about proposals to create initiatives that will keep that land clean as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. All right, moving on to our next report is the Public Works Committee. Commissioner Davenport.
Yes, you'll find our report, our minutes on page 154. We have two resolutions coming before you tonight. The first resolution is Resolution 210211. It's coming before you in the form of a motion. It's a resolution accepting an additional 1,392 feet to Victoria Lee Way, and it'll be taken into the county road system.
Right. So a motion made by Commissioner Davenport to approve the resolution. Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Fitzgerald.
Commissioner Fitzgerald was the second. Discussion or questions?
Call for the question.
The question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
White.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Eden.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Kate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Carragher.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Huffine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes.
Our next resolution is 210213. This resolution comes to your consideration tonight in the form of a motion. It's a resolution to urge the General Assembly to oppose HB 366. And I know a little bit about this, but I'm glad to see Superintendent Deacons on here, our expert, and I will rely on him to answer any questions.
All right. You brought that to us in form of a motion, did you say?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. That'll be
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Davenport, seconded by Commissioner Harris. To approve the resolution. Mr. Deacons? If there's any questions, you're here.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
All right.
Superintendent, I'm supportive of the resolution based on your recommendations, and I did read a little bit about that State Rep Williams. Is there any more detail or background story? I mean, this almost looks like a resolution in search of a problem, not our resolution, but what the state is proposing, or it may be overkill about some unique or singular situation. I just wasn't sure, or I was hoping maybe you could provide a little background.
Yes, I can. It's Commissioner Williams is from Putnam County, Cookville, and Senator is sponsoring the bill. He's over from Putnam County, and all I will represent Williams is a developer, and this bill has been introduced last 2 years, and 1 year it got pulled. The second year it got voted down in the subcommittee where it is now, right now. But basically, what as you can see on the bill, any brought to the highway department or planning for a signature, the right of way is set back 25 feet from the center, and they're saying that either the county should purchase that right of way or it should put it in a reserve. And once it's put in a reserve, you look at the dictionary, that's basically set aside for public use. But the way I understand it is the county owns it. Of course, my question is, where does it start? Because state law says that we maintain ditch to ditch, fence to fence, if there's no right of way. So does it start at the ditch? Does it start at the pavement? Start at the fence? So and it's a local problem issue. It's a local issue because all cities and counties are different. Some counties don't have planning departments, and it's an issue for local that's trying to by the state. And in my 30 years of going down there lobbying for and against bills, usually when they pass something like that, it doesn't work well. So that's why I would like to have a commission's support opposing this bill. And I have talked to Representative Hicks and Alexander and Crow, and they all have committed to not support the bill.
All right. Any further questions? Commissioner Deakins? Mr. Deakins? All right. Did I hear a question been called?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Light.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Edens.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
13 yes, one absent.
I'd like to say one more thing. Oh, sorry.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes. Go ahead, Commissioner Deakins. Mr. Deakins.
I appreciate everybody's vote and support. I have been asked if it gets to committee to come to Nashville and speak in opposition to the bill for the highway officials. And now that you can't get in the building, you've got 24 hours notice to get an appointment to speak. So I look forward to doing that. I hope we don't have to. I hope it gets beat subcommittee.
We'll be hoping for the same too for you. Sure will.
Thank you for taking a leadership, not only in our county, but also throughout the state. We're fortunate to have a man that has that kind of respect when it comes to all our highways across the street. We're fortunate. Thank you.
I feel that's part of my job, and that's what I get paid for. Thank you.
That's the end of our report.
Mr. Davenport, why don't you just take us on into the Water Task Force minutes, or if there's any questions?
Okay. I don't know the exact page. The minutes are in the back of your packet here. I did look through those.
I'll tell you what. I think I've skipped over a few things here.
Okay.
We're going to back up, and we'll save you for a few more minutes till we bring you back. So, actually, I should have said, Commissioner Carriger, would you take us into the Purchasing Commission report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think our minutes are on page 171, and I'll be glad to answer any questions if anybody has at this time.
All right. I think Commissioner Lott was not there for that meeting. You chaired, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for anyone about the Purchasing Commission report minutes? All right. Seeing none, we'll move right on into the Washington County Library Board of Trustees minutes are in your packet. Mayor Grandy represents the commission there. And I'm sure if you have any questions, he'll be able to answer those. Seeing no questions on that, we'll go to the Washington County on Property Committee. Commissioner Carrigan, we'll go back to you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You'll see our minutes of February the 4th. I hope everybody's taken the time to read those with the attachments. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody might have concerning the minutes. Well, while I'm on a roll, Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and take us into resolution number 210214, resolution instructing the clerk and master not to offer a bid on behalf of the county for properties that have environmental risks or financial liabilities associated with properties and exceed the value of the parcel, and that's on page 197. And that comes to you in the form of a motion for approval from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Carriger. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Ford. Any discussion or questions?
Call the question.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
White.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Edens.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Matherly.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Carriger.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Huffine.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes. Commissioner Carriger?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're brought for you resolution number 210215, resolution requesting collaborative effort with the County Election Commission to facilitate funding decisions with respect to the Election Commission, including polling places. And that comes from the County-Owned Property Committee with a motion for approval.
Second.
Made by Commissioner Carriger, seconded by Commissioner Ford to approve the resolution. Is there any discussion or questions?
Is there
Chairman,
going
can I ask
to
a question?
be?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
I'd read something in the paper about, I guess our lease is running up close on this, on the old hardware store. And I think that thing worked great for our last election. I think we got a lot of other uses for it, but is that what this part of what this resolution's about, or where are we with that? And what's the status, I guess?
I think we had an extension on our decision making, and I guess this resolution is to bring the election commission in part of funding decisions and what their view or outlook of this is. Is that kind of your agreement, Commissioner Carriger? Is what?
Mr. Chairman, the lease expired on January 31st of this year. I understand the gentleman that owns the property has offered us a 60-day extension, and we're hoping to have this with the Election Commission at our CIA meeting on March the 4th, and have this back to the County Commission before the end of March. But that pretty well sums it up. We would like to hear from the County Election Commission as to what they want.
I think we should point out that months ago, Budget Committee asked the mayor, and the mayor did send a letter to the County Election Commission asking them for a plan on this, and got nothing back. That's before we had the County-Owned Property Committee. Of course, it went to them after that. But we really are, struggling trying to get some input from the Election Commission. And I think I commend the County-Owned Property Committee and the mayor for coming up with a way to try to move forward in the face of not getting that input and effort.
I'd like to add something.
Go ahead, Commissioner Williams.
I felt like that the lease, bottom line of the lease, was way over what we should pay for the few times that we use it, unless there can be some further design of use of that building.
Right.
Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Edens.
I just like to add at our last meeting, we did ask for further direction. Commissioner Carragher led the meeting and asked for further direction from the Election Commission of what they wanted to do. They were reluctant to say whether they wanted us to purchase. But we have three choices here. We can purchase that building, or we can continue a lease with Mr. Sells on that building, or we can move away from that building in a different direction. As far as I'm concerned, the Election Commission itself has made no secrets about wanting that building and wanting the use of that building. They even shared vaguely of other areas and other departments that may be able to use that building or use space in that building in between elections. They very much want the building. I don't think they felt like they were in the position to tell us to buy the building or to lease the building or to pass on the building. My understanding is there's not a doubt that they want that building, they want that space, and they're willing to share that space to get the most utilization of the building that we can possibly get. I think they'll come back and they'll probably share the same thing they shared with us last time. I think they will be reluctant into making the choice. It's not their choice to make, in my opinion. It's this commission's choice to make. Do we need the building? They say we do. They say they do. I feel like they do. I made the comment before. I'll make it again. Anybody that's ever been up in their office space on the third floor cannot deny or argue that they need a different space to operate in on a daily basis, not just during elections. So I think it's up to this county commission to decide. We have three choices. We can purchase that building, we can lease that building, and we can pass on that building. But passing on that building to me is not an option. I think we can do a lot in that building outside the election commission. The election commission has already expressed that they're willing to work with other departments, a conference room for multiple people or multiple departments within the county to use as a conference space, storage space. A number of things have already been expressed. I look forward to going back to the county owned property committee, because I sit on that committee, and hearing from them again. But my opinion is we probably need to do one of the two. Either we need to purchase the building or we need to lease the building. I don't know where else we can go with them. And I don't see their situation getting any better. So to clear up some of the confusion here, I don't think they want to make our decision for us. But I do know for a fact they want the space.
Well, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a build out with no plan for the build out. I can't imagine us agreeing to buy that building for as much as we talked about with no detailed plan that's been worked out with the mayor. They've been asked to work with him and they haven't done it. And, how can we spend, $300,000 or $400,000 for the build out or whatever the figure is without that plan? They have got to engage. If they're not going to be around, whoever's going to be around, somebody's got to engage. We can't spend that kind of money for not knowing what we're getting, or we need to buy it without the build out and we build it out ourselves later or something for a lower cost. But we don't have a plan.
Maybe next month they'll have a plan for their end.
Chairman, can I say something, Commissioner Harris?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
I would just say that with this last presidential election, you've seen record turnout voters, and many of them, including myself, voted early. And that building was perfect. They was able to space people out, get people in, and I don't know what the problem is with the plan. I think that the election commission, Ms. Stewart, has always done a fine job from what I've seen. I don't know who's dropping the ball, but I can tell you one thing, that I don't know how we could run an election in the basement of the courthouse with the amount of voters we had. And there's nothing more important than making sure that people feel safe and confident when they go vote. And that building was perfect for us. And I think that was one of the best investments we made last year to have that building. And we've done that prior to this COVID. And I hope that we can work out something either keep that building or get a facility that's like that building for future elections in Washington County.
Mr. Chairman, if I might have a word.
Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
Be glad to. I would hope our commissioners would get in touch with the Election Commission and tell them we'd love to hear from them. I'm not a mind reader, and I just ask for them to give us some direction. Thank you.
May I say that it looks to me like that we could build from the ground up a custom designed place, or what the cost of that building is plus the build out. I'd like a comparison.
Well, I am sure that by the time the committee gets their work done, that they will have some kind of plan to come up with, whether it's one of the three options that Commissioner Eden's talking about. So we do know that we're working on a tight timeline, and we're going to try our best to get the best plan together that we can since the lease is expired. And none of us definitely want to lose the $75,000 on the building, for sure.
Call the question.
The question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Chairman, can I ask another question before you vote on this?
Is there any objection? Is there any objection?
I have no objection.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Harris. That's fine.
What are we exactly voting on? What is the motion? I mean, I don't know what the premise of this motion is. I'd like to know what it is.
Well, the resolution is the one that we're just requesting to collaborate the effort with the County Election Commission to facilitate the funding decisions. I guess we're just working to come up with some kind of a plan. We need more of a plan from them, I guess, to make that decision that Commissioner Edens is talking about. I agree with his choices, but I think we're just trying to get them to bring the plan to us next month. And we're all saying, yeah, we'd like to see a plan of what their build out or their recommendation is. The Election Commission, not talking about Ms. Stewart necessarily, but the Election Commission, we would like to hear from them, I guess, what their vision of that building is. And that way we could make a better decision, I think, when this lease actually does come up to take a look at. Commissioner, I guess it's just more of a looking at also some of the polling places and I guess it's more of a work together and bring us a plan and that way we can make a better decision of whether to lease, purchase, or buy or not do anything at all. So that's the way I interpret it anyway. Now, Commissioner Carragher, if there's any other interpretation, you throw it in there because
Mr. Chairman, you're spot on. We just want to hear from the Election Commission. What do they want?
Well, I'd like to see the Princeton Voting Center placed someplace else. It is just horrible over there.
Did that answer your question, Commissioner Harris, or is there something?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure before I voted what we were voting on. I was confused on it, but yes, sir. Thank you, and I appreciate Commissioner Carragher, all he's done on this. So thank you.
So if we vote yes, we're asking for a plan. Is all we're asking for. Is that correct?
Yes, plan. Yes. Go ahead, Commissioner.
And their input. We want to hear from them. What do they want?
Okay. All right.
All right.
Call for question.
All right, Madam Clerk, go ahead and call the roll on this.
White.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Anything else, Commissioner Carragher?
Mr. Chairman, I think he's muted, but I need a point of clarification if I could.
Yes.
How is this being, I mean, we don't have much time before that meeting next week. How is this being transmitted to the Election Commission?
Well, I guess Allison or the mayor would. I hate to pick on Allison again, but if she could communicate that to them, and so that'll give them a little time to prepare for the meeting. If you could, since you've been here, sitting here listening, Allison.
Mr. Chairman, if I could interject.
Please.
At our meeting, we representatives from the Election Commission were there at our February meeting, and we told them we wanted to hear from them. What's their plans? What do they need? So it's been delivered verbally at our properties meeting.
But this is the whole commission speaking, and we're liable to bump up on that March deadline. I think they need to get it from the whole commission.
Concur.
Well, if it would go ahead, Commissioner Huffine.
Now, I think Commissioner Carrier had made a very solid point earlier. It may behoove each of us, or at least a good number of us, to make a phone call just to clearly communicate our expectations to the Election Commission above and beyond this resolution, since there seems to be a disparity there of comprehension on their part.
Well, I would like to ask Allison if she could just lay out she's been here tonight and heard our concerns, I think. If she could lay out some bullet points for them, and I guess some goals for them to try to meet for our next county-owned property meeting. I feel that would just reinforce what we told them at the committee meeting, or had asked them to do. Is there any objection to that? Okay. All right. Thank you so much for doing that, Allison. We appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Any further questions or comments before we move on? All right. Back to you, Commissioner Davenport, on the Water Task Force.
Okay. You'll see our minutes from our January 29th meeting on page 205. We did meet again in February. We will review that at our next meeting. We'll have those minutes, and we could have a resolution on how to move forward on Taylor Bridge to you before the next election. But I think I gave up an update last Saturday to everyone. So I'll take any questions.
All right. Is there any questions for Commissioner Davenport? Seeing or hearing none, we'll move on to the Budget Committee report. Commissioner Wheeler?
You'll find our minutes from our February 10th meeting on page 206 of your packet for your consideration. We have two resolutions this evening. The first is Resolution 210217, which is found on page 213 of your packet, a resolution amending fiscal year budget 2020-2021 regarding Highway Department to purchase 4 cab and chassis trucks, 4 salt boxes, 4 snow plows, 4 dump bodies, and 1 mini excavator. That comes as a recommendation from your committee, and I move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, second by Commissioner Davenport to approve the resolution. Discussion or questions?
Call for the question.
The question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Light,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport, Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent. The resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our next resolution is resolution number 21-02-18, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2020-2021 regarding Highway Department to purchase a used tire loader. This is found on page 216 of your packet. Comes as a recommendation from the committee, and I move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Malone. To approve the resolution. Questions? Discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
White,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes and 1 absent, and the resolution passes. Is there anything else for Commissioner Wheeler?
No, sir. That concludes our report.
Okay. Our next item of business is Resolution 210216. It's a resolution approving the election of notaries public for reappointment or appointment for Washington County, Tennessee. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Ford, seconded by Commissioner Carragher. Did you second that?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
White,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes. We have no new business to discuss this evening. The cutoff date and time for next month's County Commission agenda is Thursday, March 11th, 12 noon. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Steve Lott made the motion. Commissioner Carragher seconded.
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't guess we need much discussion about adjourning, do we? All right.
No.
Madam Clerk, call the roll for adjournment, please.
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Edens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Matherly,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Carragher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Huffine,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
14 yes, 1 absent.
14 yes, 1 absent, and we're adjourned. Y'all have a